Love makes you do things you never think you are capable of. This is a story of a giant ape who falls in love with a girl. Well, as Jane Austen said, we all are fools in love. The giant ape, from the moment he sees the girl, stops caring about everything but that girl. He wants to keep the girl with him, and when she's taken away, he goes crazy. Let's dive into it and see what happens. Welcome to Monster Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2005 action monster film, King Kong. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie starts in the time of the Great Depression around 1933. We see a girl who is a theater artist, and she's struggling financially due to not being able to find proper work. The girl's name is Anne. The next day, she finds out that the last beacon of hope for her also got shut down. It was a theater where she used to work, and now that's gone too. Then we see Mr. Carl, who's a struggling film producer. He's trying to lure in the investors to get them to invest in a movie he has come up with. He tries to convince the people in the room, but they all end up concluding that this man has lost his mind. They even talk about selling out Carl's other films too. Carl eavesdrops on this and runs away with his reels. He has to complete one of his films in which the story revolves around nature and animals. He plans on shooting the movie on an island about which not many people know. Looking at his failed career, everyone denies working with him. On the other hand, Anne is also looking for work. She goes to an address that was given to her by someone. Carl also goes to the same place in hopes of finding a female lead actress for his movie. He ends up meeting Anne, the two get to know each other, and Carl offers Anne to work in his movie. Anne finds him a little peculiar, but she cannot really afford to be picky, so she ends up saying yes to working with him. Then we see them getting aboard a ship, and Carl offers the ship captain $1,000 if he can get them to Skull Island. There we see Jack, who's expected to be the hero in this movie. He is also an author who writes screenplays. Carl is quick to get out of there because the police have his arrest warrants, and they're coming for him. However, he's able to get out of there before he gets caught. Everyone on the ship gets to know each other, and after that, Carl tells the ship captain that they have to go to an island which has not been visited frequently. The ship captain also has a thing for the wild animals, so Carl finds it easy to lure him in. They are now sailing towards Skull Island, but the voyage starts to get rough. There's so much fog that no one is able to see anything. They start to figure out their location by using stars, but even stars cannot be seen anymore. Then we get to hear someone shouting as a warning to everyone that there are icebergs ahead. The ship now starts to go out of control. They then get hit by an iceberg and the ship gets stuck there. Carl then decides that they're going to have to use boats to get out of there. Carl gets in a boat with his crew members and they start moving towards the island. The captain and his crew, on the other hand, refuse to go further. The captain is aware of the fact that something lurks around that island, which does not let anyone who goes to that island come back. Carl and his film crew get to the island, and they set up the camera as soon as they get there. Jack and Anne are also there. Just as they're about to get to work, the natives of the island come out. They are not just simple humans, they are cannibals who look really scary. They attack Carl and his team in the blink of an eye, and even kill 2 people right away. The natives are about to kill everyone when the captain, along with his members, get there and start shooting people. They get scared and get out of there. Carl and his team are able to get away, but Anne gets caught by the people, and they intend on offering her as a sacrifice to their protector, Kong. So they tie her up in a place where Kong is expected to come. Carl and his people, on the other hand, realize that Anne is not among them, so they come back to the island in order to find her. After that, we see a monster rising there. This is Kong. He appears, picks up Anne, and gets out of there. Jack, who's now in love with Anne, is adamant about finding her. Carl, on the other hand, does not miss out on any chance to get peculiar scenes on the island on his camera. He manages to catch a glimpse of Kong and becomes determined to capture it on film. After that, they move forward and end up running into the ancient beast, the dinosaurs. They end up catching the eyes of the monstrous creatures, and, well, run. They start running for their lives, and the dinosaurs are behind them. On the other hand, Kong has taken Anne into the jungle, and we see her lying unconscious while Kong tries to wake her up. She finally wakes, and the first thing that she sees is a giant 25-foot tall ape sitting in front of her. Anne tries to sneak out of there, but Kong says, "Not so easy." He gets really angry at her for trying to attempt to run away. Well, it seems like the monster likes the girl, and now begins to somewhat understand that this beast does not really want to hurt her, because if he did, he would have eaten or killed her by now. This is when she decides to put up a show for Kong, hoping that it would calm the beast down. She dances for him, and it actually works. She not only manages to calm him down, but in fact he seems really impressed. He starts enjoying it, but Anne is now angry. Kong wants her to keep up, but she says enough is enough, and that she's now tired. Kong again gets upset. On the other hand, Jack and his team are still trying to look for Anne. They come face to face with King Kong and start shooting him. Kong makes them fall into a ravine, resulting in Hay's death and Carl losing his camera. Taking advantage of their confrontation, Anne gets out of there. But it does not really turn out to be a good idea, because she, in no time, finds herself in front of bloody dinosaurs. They start chasing her, and she makes a run for her life. Anne is about to fall off a cliff when Kong catches her, and then he fights the dinosaurs. He fights off 3 dinosaurs. The beasts keep trying to get a hold of Anne, but Kong does not allow that. The fight ends with 2 dinosaurs falling off from a considerable height, and one getting killed by Kong. Anne realizes Kong could have easily given her up, but he did not. She then figures out that he's at the same time angry at her as well. He's angry with her because he only meant to protect her, but she betrayed him and snuck out of there. Jack and the others with him are still alive, and as they try to get out of there, they're met by vicious-looking creatures. They're like giant bugs who want to make a good meal of these humans. It's disturbing even to look at them. They end up killing 3 more, and to the good luck of the remaining men, the captain again comes to their rescue and starts shooting everything that is attacking Jack and the young boy with him. They manage to fend off or kill all the weird creatures, and the captain then tells them that it's still not too late and asks them to get out of there. But Jack is still adamant on finding Anne. Carl then tells the captain that Anne is still alive. Kong, on the other hand, takes Anne to a high cliff. Anne is now tired, and she falls asleep on King Kong's hand. Jack, on the other hand, somehow manages to get close to Anne. He wakes up Anne and asks her to get out of there, but this is when King Kong opens his eyes. Anne gets out of there, but Kong catches her. However, he gets attacked by giant bats, and taking advantage of the distraction, Jack and Anne manage to get out of there. Carl, who's a really greedy and selfish person, plans to subdue King Kong. The only thing he cares about is making money by showing off this monster when he gets back to the city. They're aware that he's going to come out looking for Anne, so they are fully prepared to catch the beast. Anne looks around her and figures out what's going on. King Kong comes out being extremely furious. They manage to throw the net at him, but what's a net going to do against a giant like this? He breaks the net and starts pursuing these people. They manage to get to the boat. Anne is now in the boat as well. The people around her are continuously attacking Kong. They start throwing the chloroform bottles at him, and the ship captain keeps shooting him. Anne, on the other hand, keeps shouting at them, asking them not to hurt the beast. However, they do not stop, and end up knocking him unconscious and manage to get out of his grab. The boat sails away with Anne in it, as King Kong looks on. Carl, on the other hand, is the happiest person in his city, as he considers this trip a grand success, and organizes a big show in his city. He makes all the arrangements to exhibit King Kong. He gets thousands of people gathered in a really big hall for the exhibition. He's expecting to get a lot of appreciation when King Kong is shown to the people. He books the biggest theater in the city to show off what he considers a great achievement. When the people in the city get to know that there's going to be an exhibition in which a giant monster is going to be exhibited, Carl's tickets get sold out in no time. We see the producers and the investors with Carl, who used to call him crazy. Jack, on the other hand, is fully in love with Anne, so he writes a comedy book for her. Jack does not attend Carl's show. Carl is now on the stage, and he makes a big speech before starting the exhibition. Then they drop the curtains, and there we see Kong. The giant Kong sitting there, looking like someone just knocked him out. He does not even move, as people in the theater look on. Jack realizes that he should be with Anne, so he runs towards the theater where Anne currently is. Upon getting there, he sees that Carl has given all the credit to Mr. Buckster, the man who did not even bother to go look for Anne. Carl now tells the audience how this giant animal is controlled by a little girl. indicating that Kong is in love with Anne. After that, a girl is tied up in front of King Kong, but that girl is not Anne. Kong gets angry and starts looking for her. He gets furious and breaks out of everything that he has been bound with. Now the theater is in chaos. The people in the theater start running for their lives. When everyone is out of the theater, this is when Kong sees Jack, and he starts running after him. It seems like he wants to catch him and ask him about the whereabouts of Anne. After pulling chaos into the theater and destroying it, King Kong is now out in the city. The cars on the roads are colliding with him like they're toys. The vehicles on the roads start bumping into each other, and it seems like all hell has broken loose on the roads, as Kong starts picking up the cars and throwing them away like he's throwing a ball. Kong starts looking for Anne. He picks up every girl with the same hair as Anne and checks if it is Anne. This is when Jack plans on getting him out of the city. He tries to catch his attention and ends up succeeding. Now King Kong is chasing Jack, who's in a car. Then there comes a scene where Kong finds Anne standing in front of him. He stops and looks at her like he wants to ask her so many questions. He picks her up and takes her far away from the city. It's snowing out there. He has her on the palm of his hand as he starts to enjoy the snow. He gets up and slides in the snow like he's a baby who's holding a doll in his hand. It seems like he's now relieved because he has Anne with him, and he's having the best time of his life. He's playing in the snow when the whole police force gets there. He again picks up Anne, saving her from the bullets fired by the policemen, and ends up climbing the city's tallest building. He wants to keep Anne with him even in this chaotic situation. Now it's impossible for the policemen to shoot at him from the ground, because he's sitting hundreds of feet higher than them. So they now bring in the helicopters. The helicopters are circling him, and they keep shooting him. Anne, on the other hand, keeps asking the men in the helicopters to stop shooting at him, shouting at them that he is not a threat, but they do not seem to listen to her. Kong is now badly injured, but still keeps protecting Anne like a shield wall. Kong is in front of Anne when all the helicopters gather and attack him from behind, shooting countless bullets at him. He now seems down. Anne touches him, trying to comfort him at the same time, knowing that these people are never going to let him live. Kong is now done. He's unable to hold on and ends up falling off the building. In the next scene, we see him lying dead on the road, and it looks like the whole city has gathered here to see this giant monster. Jack reaches the top of the building to comfort and embrace Anne. Civilians, policemen, and soldiers gather around the beast's corpse in the street. One bystander comments that the airplanes got him. Carl makes his way through the crowd, takes one last look at Kong, and says, "It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast." With thousands gathered around the dead giant lying on the floor, the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.